Okay, this past week, the Senate, the United States Senate, basically passed the bill, the $858 billion National Defense Authorization Act bill. And that means in that bill, as we've all been talking about for a long time now, in that bill, there's language that provides protection for anybody within the Pentagon who wants to blow the whistle on what they know with regard to UFOs and or extraterrestrials. And now the only thing that needs to happen, and which will most certainly happen before the end of this year, I would say by New Year's, probably before Christmas, maybe even, is that President Biden just needs to sign that, and then it's a done deal. That means there's whistleblower protection for anybody out there who decides to blow the whistle on what they know about UFOs that's not been getting told to Congress and the public. Now, from how I understand this, once the president signs this, now if somebody wants to blow the whistle, right? The way it seems like it's going to work, they're going to have to talk to Congress first, right? Apparently, they need to go to Congress. It's not like so everybody's going to start showing up on news channels or anything like that. From the way it seems like it's written, the way this bill is presented, the people would have to basically go to Congress, and in Congress, most certainly will probably have a closed meeting on it first. Right, I'm assuming that's how it's going to happen. Now, there have been some people who have contacts within the Pentagon and contacts with some of these insiders, who potential whistleblowers who have indicated over this past year that there's people ready to step forward and they can't wait to do it. In fact, one of these people is Dr. Gary Nolan from a Stanford professor who's shown a great interest in UFOs. Also, people like Lou Elizondo. There's a lot of different people out there who have contacts within the Pentagon who seem to believe that there are going to be people stepping forward with what they know. Now, of course, I would rather them. I think to blow the whistle properly on something like this, instead of going to Congress, right? I think the proper thing to do would be going right to the press. Right, and blowing the whistle that way, going to major media outlets and basically providing information. And preferably information that makes the whole thing undeniable. I don't want to see. If blowing the whistle to me, I hope it's not, somebody else stepping forward and saying they saw a UFO once. Something like, for instance, like the people like Robert Salas, a guy who said he was at this nuclear missile silo back in 1967, and a UFO showed up and shut down all the missiles. That's great. That's great stuff. But that still could be open for debate. Then we need to have stuff that ends the debate. So if anybody steps forward, I'm hoping these whistleblowers aren't just coming up and telling their stories, right? What they saw, what they experienced. We need to have actual documentation or some sort of physical proof, preferably physical proof. Actually, maybe an alien body, an actual alien body, perhaps something, anything to prove this. That proves this, that makes it undeniable. That shows that for a fact that the government has been covering this up for all these decades. That would be true whistleblowing on something like that. Coming up with just stories because there's how many different officials from the military over the decades have stepped forward and said that there's something going on behind the scenes that they're not telling us the public the whole truth. For instance, in the Roswell case, how many different people who were actually in the military, including the late Jesse Marcel Sr., who was the first person to step forward. He was the top intelligence guy at the Roswell Army Air Base back in 1947, who handled some of this material, and he stepped forward in the late 70s and said, hey, this stuff was not from this world. Of course, he didn't have anything to show. He didn't have the absolute proof. So, of course, debunkers and, people in the media, they didn't know whether to take them. Of course, the debunkers said, well, you don't have the proof, so that doesn't mean anything. We still don't believe you. And then they just move on. Like the whole thing's all a nonsense to them. But we need people that, if there's going to be a real whistleblower, right, in this whole thing, a real whistleblower is going to be somebody who steps up to the plate and basically provides the undeniable proof. That's the kind of whistleblowers we're going to need here. Now, again, I don't know if there's anybody like that who in the Pentagon right now who has access to materials that could actually, present information that makes it undeniable. And again, I don't like this whole idea of taking it to Congress first, and maybe Congress makes a decision on whether to show it to us or not. I mean, I'm not sure about that one. I don't like that. I don't like that idea. I mean, I think you should go right to the press. In fact, I would throw out this little suggestion to anybody out there who is planning to blow the whistle on this. Make sure you have all your ducks in order. Right. Make sure your ducks are lined up and in order. In fact, make sure you have, in the event anything, for instance, in the event anything happens to you, like say you're planning to step forward and blow the whistle on something, make sure you have a package, put someplace that's going to get sent to several media outlets in the event all of a sudden you just happen to, get killed in a car accident or something, right? Make sure you got stuff all lined up just in the event something happens to you. Make sure you do those things because you never know. It seems like the military, the people who are in charge of this secret really want to keep it secret. They don't want to share it. So make sure, right, that you got everything lined up. Right, because they want to hold on to this secret for as long as they possibly want, and we know this because, what happened just recently in late October. You had that bogus New York Times article where you had a couple of anonymous Pentagon sources, right, telling the New York Times that in this new report, by the way, a UFO report. Let's just stop here for a second. A UFO report that was due on October 31st that nobody's gotten it yet. The Pentagon was supposed to have this report sent to Congress on October 31st of this year, and it's almost Christmas time. And right before that release of that report, a few days before that report came out on October 28th, the New York Times has this story with anonymous Pentagon sources saying that there's 366 objects in this UFOs that are in this report, and more than half of them have been determined to be Chinese spy drones or air clutter, right? Balloons and garbage, stuff like that, all right? And the rest of it, they don't know the answer to. But if they did have more information, they say that they could, it's definitely not extraterrestrial. How stupid is that? But that's what it said. So it seems like there's been an effort behind the scenes by some people within the Pentagon, within the military industrial complex, who's ever in charge of Majestic 12 or these private contractor organizations, right, that have been sitting on this whole thing for all these decades. There's still an effort out there. They do not want to share this information to the public. And there has to be, there's another group of people that do want to get this information out. So any potential whistleblowers out there, please have your ducks all lined up. Hopefully you have this information, already passed out to certain people, in fact, and in the event something happens, and hopefully make this information undeniable kind of stuff, not nonsense, not stories, not like Robert Sala's stories. I'm talking about documentation, not your experiences. Not, I saw a bunch of UFOs back in 1995. No. That's not going to help. That doesn't do anything. That just adds, skeptics will say, well, that's nothing. Well, we need to we need something that's going to shut these skeptics and debunkers up. Right. So come up with some real stuff here. Like, it's, in fact, and I've talked about this before. If some way you could bring a part of a dead alien, if you could do it, I don't know, figure something out. Because again, these people in the Pentagon, the ones who are the puppet masters in there, the ones who are on top of this whole thing, the ones who really don't want to get this out there, right? The ones who really want to keep making money from, I don't know what their reasoning is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we talk about it all the time on here. I mean, it could be because of the panic it's going to cause. It could be because of the reverse engineering. I mean, who knows? It could be a combination of a bunch of different things of why the cover up is continuing. But there's a certain group, or it could be because of their religious beliefs too. That's something else we've been hearing. There's some people who are extremely religious in the Pentagon, and we don't want anyone to know about this because this goes against my religion. Now there's some people hell-bent on keeping this from the public, hell-bent, and they don't want you to see it. So hopefully there's some whistleblowers out there who who see this and understand the ramifications of all of this, and are taking measures to ensure their safety, and in the event of something happening to them, that they do have some other places where this information could be sent to, where it gets into the public domain, and then you can't stop it anymore, and then we just move on with this nonsense. We get over that hump finally, because this is getting tiring. It's very, very tiring, as I've been talking about, recently. It's just we're playing this stupid game. It's a stupid game of hiding reality, and the bureaucracy that's in the middle of between the phenomenon and the public. There's like this bureaucracy in the middle of it all, basically preventing reality from people from understanding what's really going on here. And it's time to get over this hump.